I am very trusting of the world. I have faith in humanity. I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. The glass is half full rather than half empty. So, in this vein, a few Friday nights ago, I rode my bike to Brooklyn, met my friend there, and we went to a gay bar. And I didn't want to wear my baseball hat, so I put my baseball hat, deodorant, my bottle, drunken bottle of Evian water into just a little cloth bag, and I tied it to my bike, and I locked my bike up on the side of the street, on like a side street. And my friend said, "Are you really going to leave your stuff there? What if someone takes it?" And I thought, well, if they take the deodorant and the water bottle, whatever, if they steal the baseball hat, then they need it. Now, I've done this before. I've done this a few times, and I always return to my bike with everything there. Well, this Friday night, I get back to my bike, and the bag's gone. We look down the street, and it's just thrown on the side of the street. The water bottle's there. The deodorant and the baseball hat were gone. It was like 3 a.m. And I have to admit that I was sad. I was sad to lose my baseball hat because it's one that I really liked. It was a replacement of this hat. This hat is on its last legs. I have worn it so much. I have loved it. It's fraying around the brim. I've put it through the wash. The interlining of the sweatband is sort of coming apart. And I still wear it. But I thought, I'm going to get a new version of this. My tradition of buying baseball hats is that I buy them at the airport. When I'm leaving the US through LaGuardia and going to Toronto, I pass through this section of like New York merchandise, and I always, if I need a baseball hat, that's my tradition, buying it in the LaGuardia airport before I get on the flight to Toronto. I've done this for 8 years, I think. And so I bought another version of this hat, and that was the hat that was taken from my bike. So, a week later, still sad about the loss. I thought, I'm just going to replace this in New York, and I went to a sporting goods store and I got this hat. And I have been wearing this for like the last 2 weeks, and I don't like it. So, I thought I would share with you the difference between these two brands. Now, I have no business at all talking about anything sports related because I don't like sports. I don't play sports. I don't watch sports. I don't read about sports in the newspaper. I don't listen to sports points and all that stuff from the radio. I don't like them. And when people ask me, is there anything you're not good at? I say sports. Now, why? If I was to ask myself, why I have no interest in sports, it's because I'm gay. Okay? My mom used to say when I was a little boy and I would be cutting apart a simplicity pattern to make something on her sewing machine, why can't you just be like the other boys and go and play sports? Well, there was a reason. Just wanted to make my clothes on the sewing machine. So, what business have I to talk about baseball hats when these things are related to sports? Well, the best person to consult when it comes to things made of fabric and things that are fashionable are gays. That is since the beginning of time. I'm sure there was a gay dressing the pharaoh in ancient Egypt. That is why I do, okay, let's go back to real me. That's why I really do feel I want to talk about this, and I want to share my understanding of these two things with you, because I feel like I have the authority to do so from a construction, fashion, and fabric stance. I love baseball hats. I have been wearing baseball hats for years. it's sort of an iconic North American thing. You can usually spot an American or a Canadian in Europe by if they're wearing a baseball hat. There are some technical difficulties. I apologize. The sound guy is going to be fired for that mishap. Don't make a mistake, sound guy. I'm the sound guy. So, as I was saying, I've loved baseball hats for years. It's kind of an iconically North American thing. You can spot a North American in Europe, usually because of their running shoes, shorts, and their baseball hat. Anyways, it's something. I spent 2 years in Munich, and when I would scan the crowds, and I would see baseball hats. This is a generalization, but I would think, oh, there's an American. And then sure enough, if I was in their vicinity, I would hear them speaking American English. But I love it. That's not to say that there's anything wrong with that. I think it's such a practical garment. There's an association with the American identity because of baseball. And it's just something that's so comforting to me, throwing a baseball hat on, especially because of my wild, wild hair. When my hair is crazy, just doing this, it just neatens everything up, and it's so easy, and I love it. I'm riding my bike around all the time. I always have a hat with me. Sometimes it's a very wide, hand-woven Florentine straw hat, but usually it's a baseball hat just in my bag to keep the sun off my face and away from my eyes. So it's a really practical garment, and I find that the more a baseball hat is worn, the better it looks. So my favorite hats are really the ones that are really just broken in. Now, I think there's a beauty to the baseball hat once it conforms to the wearer's head. Not only the cap part, but the brim. Whatever the owner does to the brim is part of their look. Some people don't curl the brim, they leave it flat, and that's a thing, and that's a look. I love to, right at the beginning, take the brim and curl it, and to have this brim really shade my face with this curve. I also think there's a beauty to this beautiful curve. So my biggest complaint with this new hat was that I went to make that curve as soon as I bought it. So I saw this in the store, looked at it, was unsure of the brand. I couldn't remember if this was the same brand that I buy in the airport. Spent the same amount of money on this. This was about $35 or $40, so they're not cheap. And then I went out in the street and I put it on and I went to curl it, and the cardboard I could feel it just kind of cracking into segments. Very, very bad. So this cardboard that is inside the fabric of the brim, they're both cardboard, but this brand's cardboard, however this is constructed, is really not good. I do not like this hat for that reason. So that prompted a deeper dive into these two brands and also just how the hats are made. The two major manufacturers of Major League Baseball hats are New Era, it's a company that goes back to like the 1920s, and 47 brand. So this is the 47 brand hat, and the 47 refers to the year 1947 when the two brothers started this company. This is the 47 brand hat, and this is the New Era hat. And apparently the baseball players, like the official merchandise of the baseball players, I shouldn't even be talking about this because I don't care. I'm just going to stop. Well, the official merchandise that the baseball players wear are the New Era hats. Now, when I started wearing this and started realizing I don't like this hat, it was just this feeling. It started with this horrible brim cracking in these segments. You can even see from underneath. Look at the smoothness of the 47 brand hat and the sort of all the wrinkles in the New Era hat. So I was curious. I was curious about this. And when I went home, I found this and I saw, oh, they're two different brands. And I just started researching. This hat is 100% polyester. This hat is 85% acrylic, not great, and 15% wool. So that was a plus for me. The fact that there is some natural fiber in this hat. The closures are different. This brand offers many different backs of the hats. They have fitted hats in all different sizes with nothing at the back. They have these snapbacks, and then they have an adjustable tab version. So there are many options for this on the back of the hat, but I like this option on both of these hats. This one is Velcro because my hair, when I let it grow, it gets really big, and when I have it cut, it like is pared down, and I end up really adjusting the hat to accommodate the hair. When my hair is really big, I have to open this up a little so that it's not too tight on my head, and because if it's too tight, it causes a headache. So I would say that the brand that I love for baseball hats, which is something I just discovered, is the 47 brand hat. The brand that I would stay away from, I will never buy another New Era hat. Interestingly, about a year ago, New Era purchased 47 brand. So New Era now owns 47 brand. They are operating separately, so they're still manufacturing their hats independently. They're just owned by the same company. Maybe the composition and the manufacturer of the hats will change eventually now that it's just one big company. But for now, if you're looking for a baseball hat and you don't know about the fact that there are two different brands, I would say the much nicer hat is this 47 brand hat. And when I looked at home, at all the baseball hats that I have about 6. They're all 47 brand. So that's because I've been buying them from the same place. There's also a difference in the structure of the hat. These New Era hats are more boxy and structured. This looks this way because it's been washed many, many times, washed and dried in the sun. So it has shrunken a little bit. It's lost some of its structure, but in terms of construction, there is a difference in the shape of the hat, like the nuance of the curve of the top of the hat. These are meant to feel more vintage, and these are a newer style. Boxy, structured. You can kind of see it, although this is not a good gauge because, as I said, this has been washed so many times. In terms of quality, though, I think this hat is better quality than this hat. I think the 47 brand hat really is better quality than the New Era hat. I don't care at all about these baseball teams. I have just no interest. But the reason why I like these hats is because of the NY. Because I live in New York and I love living in New York so much, and the NY is just so iconic of the city that I call home and the city that I love. And I think that the font and the logo on its own, independently of any association with a sport, is a beautiful, simple design. There's another version of this that's sort of like a circus font, and usually maybe it's another sports team entirely. Maybe it's the New York Knicks. I don't know. It's usually like, it's bright orange on a blue hat, and I love that font as well. But this black on black, this is my favorite of all of the NY hats that I have. the Yankees hats. And although I now wear this here in Rhode Island to the beach and around the barn, I am going to continue wearing my 47 brand hat in New York until I go back to the airport to get a replacement. And whoever it is that needed my hat and my deodorant at 2 a.m., I hope you're enjoying both of those things, and you're welcome.